Hi, this is Rachel, and I wanted to offer up some suggestions for empaths, INFJs, and highly sensitive people to consider as they're going out into the world and coming out of hiding. Number one thing, and the hardest thing for us, one of the hardest things for us to deal with, is that people go by appearance. But the truth is, no matter how much we sharpen our skills, we still have a physical body. We're still on this planet. So that means that, we still need to participate in the way and the structure of the system, society, whichever. Not all of us can go out in the woods. A lot of us have families. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be in the woods without water. That's not going to make me more spiritually connected, because I'm going to have more of a problem and not even be able to get connected spiritually unless I have, the need or whatever. A lot of people wouldn't consider it if they had to give up television. Now, even if that's not important to most of us, it doesn't mean that they're any less. So it's very important to consider how you physically look. Slap a little lip gloss on or some lipstick. The men can wear a nice haircut or, nice clothes. It doesn't take that much to look good, and it doesn't take that much to look good the way you want to, I promise. So try to, if you're going out to make an impression, or even if you're at work, you can find a motivation to dress better. That's all. Like you want to make an impression, you want people to pay attention to your work ethic. You're trying to get a promotion, stuff like that. You want people to listen to you. You got to do a speech, whichever and why you are in public. Because if somebody can judge you in that way, and you can prevent that by showing the best of your image. I go out looking like a bum sometimes, but I don't go shopping every time in pajamas. And I'm not trying to be mean. And another thing to consider when we go out there is to be more, this is really hard to explain, because a lot of us get taken advantage of and stepped on all the time. So what I'm talking about isn't about that. It's about the attitude that you're going to put people off and blow them off and keep them at a distance if you notice that they're drama. If you notice that, they have issues. If you notice that they don't like you. If you notice that they're two-faced. You don't have to accept them as your friend. But hey, if they make you laugh and stuff, why would you deny yourself that part of the relationship? If they're a good worker and they're willing to help and you don't want nothing to do with them because they're a backstabber, you're missing out on that help. But you don't have to let the person backstab you. You know what I'm saying? This is really hard to explain. Because somebody who gets taken advantage of shouldn't have to be more flexible. But I'm talking about the attitude about people around. It's okay to have superficial, fun-time friends. It's okay. There's other parts of people that are worth being around. I have a girlfriend that is really shallow. But you know what? She makes me laugh more than anybody else. Another thing that I would that has to do with the attitude, how you approach people. When you're learning to be more extrovert, how you approach people will cause a certain reaction every time. So different moods, you'll feel different. So maybe if you're in a bad mood, try to, and I know how hard this is and I forget it, try to think of the what would you feel like in this situation if you were in a good mood? Would you say things different? Would you do things different? You know, so we have to be aware of ourselves. And part of an approach that would be safe for us would be, you know, just lay back. If you notice that the person has a problem, work on not showing that so much, like in sounds or in attitude. If you approach them and you know they're angry, so you're approaching them angry because guess what? You absorbed their anger. There's no reason to approach them in anger because you know that's not how you feel. That's not how you felt. You know when you got around this person or you noticed them that you picked up on their anger. There's no reason to approach them like that. I've gotten in fights before because I'm very sensitive and I absorb energy. And one time this dude, like I was doing fine, everything was fine, I'm doing great, I was in a good mood. All of a sudden I got around this guy. I was on a forklift and I was driving and I got around this guy and he was working. He wouldn't have nothing to do with me. You know, he was doing his thing is what I meant. But when I had to keep going to my area, I noticed that he was glaring at me and he was angry and he couldn't hide it even though he was trying to. So I got angry. But I didn't realize that it wasn't my anger and I didn't feel that way until after the argument. And this turned into a cussing out argument. Because I got to the point with him where I was like, you know, if you have a problem with me, keep it short to the point. Don't go on and on and on. You can tell me it in 10 words. You know, you don't have to tell me in 10 minutes because you're wasting my truck time. And then I have other people that want me a little bit. So anyway, it turned into kind of a crazy argument. And later I realized he was the one who had been angry and I was fine until I approached him where he was in that area he hadn't been before. He had just got that truck. You know, so try to be careful of approach and try to separate it if you can notice. And another thing about going out related to that is noticing, are we okay? You know, if we're in a crowd or we're trying to go out there in a crowd and we're not feeling okay, it's okay to stop what you're doing and go for a little walk. It's okay to stop what you're doing and go to the restroom. That's a really good place to go when you're out with other people, is the restroom. You know, there's other things you can separate yourself somehow. Be like, I really need to go back to the car. You know, oh, I really want to go sit over here where it's more quiet for a while. I'm going to step outside away from this. I'm going to go to the back of the concert. I'm going to go hang out at the beer garden instead of being in the middle of the mosh pit. Like, I'm not really sure how to explain this. So anyway, another thing to consider is arrogance, which kind of has to do with the attitude. But arrogance, you think you're better than other people. You are. But the issue is having it in how we present our body language and how we speak. There's no reason to have arrogance. And arrogance can come off like worse than standoffish. Like you are not that, you are wonderful, but you're not a god or a goddess. You know what I'm saying? And y'all are acting like arrogant, like, but you actually look like a rude statue. Like, I don't know how to explain this. It's not okay to say you're so wonderful, so that means you want to be wonderful by yourself because you're not going to put up with anybody else who's less wonderful. It's not the truth. The truth is you're wonderful and you need to share it, not hide it. How is anybody else supposed to learn? If you're an artist, if all you guys are artists, how is anyone supposed to learn how to draw outside of college if they don't have anybody to show them? If they don't have anybody to put their art on display, how are they going to get influenced and be like, ooh, that person uses bright colors and they're not afraid of color? Then you're going to be like, wow, I feel validated because guess what? I only like neon or primary colors. Whatever it is. I don't know how to explain this. So, coping skills is another thing to consider about going out in the world and sharing your gifts and your knowledge. So, wherever there's a weakness, because I don't know each person's weakness. For a while, I would cry all the time. But then I looked up how to hold tears back. So, like, you can look up at the ceiling and blink a lot. You can go into an area that's colder or hotter. So, it gives you it makes your brain do a switch. So, if you're going from hot to cold or cold to hot, that can make enough of a switch to distract you from crying. Stuff like that. Think of a different thought. Like a thought could be somewhere in the world at every minute there's a dolphin being born. Somewhere in the world somebody's falling in love. Because you can't say you don't love love. Because even if you love loving, there's other people that love in the wrong way. So you can't tell me you don't like love. Somebody might love, smoking cigarettes and the next person doesn't. The loving or the love is just different. That's all. But coping skills. So if you have an anger problem, maybe try to read something. Maybe try to watch people. Okay, you don't want to read. You don't like reading. Pay attention to the people you're around. They're really calm. Look. I know somebody who is very successful, and she tells me, even though, I forget and I don't understand sometimes, she'll say, rule number 1 is to stay calm. And she said, rule number 2 is if you forget, something about rule number 2 is remember number 1, which is be calm. So, and I don't know how she does it. But at the same time, I'm going to listen to her because she can show me an example. And I don't have to read a book to find that out. So anyway, these are some things to consider. And I hope that everybody can go out. That they don't have to stay in hiding. Because if you don't show people an example, they won't have anything to learn. Okay, so if you're not shown how to use toilet paper and what to do with it, how are you supposed to know? How are you supposed to know you can even use the toilet paper to wipe your behind? There's all kinds of things. If you don't know, you don't have it available. That's the big thing. If I had a light switch and the light went out, but I didn't know you could take the light bulb out and replace it. I'm going to have a different perception. Turning on the light's not available. I don't know what to do. So anyway, thank you so much.